Hi, thank you very much for joining us on Let's Face It with Joe. I have here with me Grecelda. Grecelda, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Johanna.
I'm sure we've had a discussion about the topic of today already. I just want to ask you, do you think women, whether single, married or whatever, do you think they really fall in love with their pastor?
Well, falling in love with their pastor, just to clarify,
Yes.
the pastor in question is a married pastor.
Absolutely. Let's look at, for example, general overseers.
In our generation today, we hear all sorts of things that were unspeakable before. Now, you hear people justifying that they are in love with a pastor, they are in love with a certain married man, because regardless of it, if it's a pastor or not a pastor, it belongs to somebody else.
Sure.
You have no business being in love with what's not yours to even begin with.
But you've heard the saying that you don't choose who you fall in love with. I mean, whether it's right or whether it's wrong, people fall in love with people they shouldn't fall in love with.
Well, that is true, but I have a totally different opinion about that. And there are different kinds of love. But I want to believe that this love we're talking about is the one that drives intimacy.
Okay.
Right? And intimacy is driven by passion driven by emotions, and emotions can be controlled. And that's why we have things we call forbidden love. You know? If it's forbidden, it means it's enticing, but you shouldn't go near it.
Yes.
So I do not see why people will say you don't choose who you fall in love with. You have a role to play in
Yes, I
choosing
agree.
that.
Thank you. Now, I know of someone who actually feels passionate about their pastor, and he's a general overseer. Now, she attends the church, you understand?
Right.
So, what do you think? What's your opinion about that certain person attending the church? Do you think it's right? Because as her pastor is speaking, she's not actually listening to what he's ministering. Her mind has drifted elsewhere. What would you say to such women?
Firstly, the problem is with the person, not the pastor, not the church. Now that person, I think, has a void in them that they're trying to fill. And the essence of the pastor, the picture of perfection they create of him, is what drives them. So they assume that this picture perfect pastor will fill in the void,
Yes.
which they have.
Yes.
So they've probably written a checklist of what their ideal man will be, and they can only see the pastor from a picture point
So
of view.
I guess that could be anybody. It doesn't necessarily have to be a pastor.
Yes.
You could be looking at any man there
Well-
and believe that, wow, this guy has all the qualities that I desire in a person. But I believe maybe it's slightly different with the pastor because he's speaking from the Word of God. So that makes it more passionate to the heart of a lot of women.
Who wants God-fearing men.
Exactly.
And you are absolutely right, Johanna. Another thing I notice is that one of the job descriptions of a pastor is that they must learn how to mask their weaknesses. So they appear to be strong and perfect.
Yeah,
You know?
that's true.
And this so-called lady, if given the opportunity to have all her fantasies played out with the pastor, when she realizes that he's not as perfect
Yes.
as she pictured, it will be the next best person. So it's really not about the pastor. It's about this person who desires something and has created a picture in their minds which they have placed on this pastor.
And I guess if you ask the pastor's wife, she will tell you a lot more about the pastor.
Absolutely. I don't know any wife who has the exact opinion of their husband as the masses out there.
Yes, yes. I
Positive
agree.
or negative.
Negatively, yes.
You know, because I've had people say that your husband is really stern. And then I go, actually,
He's
actually
not.
soft.
Yes.
Likewise, people will say that, oh, your husband, oh, he's really nice and all. And the wife will say, oh, you really do not know him. So it's a perception thing.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
perception
I
thing.
really do believe that. And then, how do you think a pastor's wife should handle such situations?
For me, as a pastor's wife, the job role requires a really large heart and understanding.
Absolutely.
Now, there must be a margin, and that's why I believe that if your husband is called, he must lay down the scores to you. You must also research to know what it takes to support this person's vision. Now, if you have the belief that I am this person who is going to be me, my husband, and I, it's a bit unrealistic if you're the pastor's wife. Now, this is not to say that you do not have the right to feel jealous or complain, but when you know these things, you may excuse some things.
Yes.
And then you will communicate better. But you find a lot of pastors' wives, they hold a lot of resentment because they don't understand. Now, part of the job description of being a pastor is you must be compassionate.
Let's hold it there. My mind went back to, there's been so much in social media now about pastors being involved with women of the congregation and also women outside. What do you think the ladies involved in this, what do you think they should do?
I don't know about the ladies being innocent because nobody is underage here except if we're talking about a case of abuse. But you can see that this man is not for you to take. It's not.
But the female is not the one chasing the pastor, it's the pastor showing interest in the female.
Well, it's like with any craving. Sometimes you want to have a big box of chocolate and you know you shouldn't. You would hold yourself back.
I'm sure you and me know about that.
Don't get me started yet, Joe. But my one remedy to everything is willpower.
Yeah.
Nobody is perfect and nobody has it all put together.
Which includes pastors.
Absolutely. Pastors is, you wear the persona of a pastor. Outside the pastor, you're either just Michael or Richard or Peter or anybody else.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, you are a lawyer or any
Yes.
other profession.
Yes.
However, willpower is important if you must grow. Now, every job description has its bylaws. As a pastor, as an elder, you must develop your willpower.
Yes.
You must be disciplined. Even the Bible said it. When Jesus was hungry, the devil came to him with food. He could have justified his actions that I have been fasting and I've just come back from the mountain, so maybe this is answers to my prayer. But it was his willpower that helped him pull back. So it is not limited to the pastors or the girls. It is forbidden love. And we don't go hear it.
Well, you've heard what Grecelda has said. That's been a very, very interesting interview. I wish we could spend much more time with her, but as usual, we have to go. Take care. Bye. In April this year, the Vanguard wrote an article stating, in Nigeria, 3 out of 10 children born are not actually the biological fathers.